as well. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tiffany Service Gustafson. I am a digital strategist here at BWG Connect, and we are a network and knowledge sharing group. That is what we do. We stay on top of the latest trends, challenges, whatever it is that is facing the digital landscape. We're on track to do at least 500 of these virtual events this year due to the increase in demand to better understand everything digital. And we're also on track to do at least 100 in-person small format dinners. So if you happen to be in a tier 1 city, feel free to send us an email and we'd be happy to send you an invite. These dinners are typically 15 to 20 people having a specific discussion around a specific digital topic. It's always a good time. We spend the majority of our time here at BWG Connect talking to brands and learning about the latest trends within the market. I'd love to have a chat with you. So feel free to send me an email at Tiffany, Tiffany at bwgconnect.com, and we can put some time on the calendar. It's from these conversations where we generate topic ideas for future events, and it's also where we gain our resident experts, such as Rock, who's here today. Welcome. Anybody that we asked to teach the collective community has come highly recommended from multiple brands within our network. So if you're ever in need of any recommendations within the digital space, do note we have a short list of the best service providers that we would be happy to provide to you. And we also know a lot of people are hiring right now. We do have a talent agency, BWG Talent, that we'd be happy to put you in contact with as well. So a few housekeeping items. We started about 5 minutes after the hour, so rest assured we will wrap up at least 5 minutes before the end of the hour to give you ample time to get to your next meeting. And we really want this to be conversational and educational as possible. So we will be dropping in questions within the chat. Definitely feel free to engage. You can send me an email if you feel more comfortable in that respect at Tiffany at BWG Connect. You can be anonymous. You can send away, and we are going to get to the questions and dig into this very exciting topic. So with that, let's rock and roll with Rock. I've been waiting to say that all morning.
Well done. Well done.
How personalization impacts customer experience and revenue. So important. The team at Rock have been great friends and partners in the network. Ashley, Kim, Mike, if you take a moment to introduce yourself, that would be great, and we can jump into the topics.
Sure. I can kick off. I'm Ashley Firmstone, SVP of Customer Success at Rock. I've been with the company for 7+ years, so quite a journey with us, and I've been witness to some of the growth and milestones that we've been able to hit with a lot of our partners. So excited to speak with everyone today.
And hi, I'm Mike Griffin. I run our global business development organization, and I've been at Rock a little over a year, but I've been witness to us launching some amazing, great partners and advertisers and what we would also call providers. So getting to kind of watch us help our partners on this personalization journey and really understand kind of what we call the transaction moment and help them drive relevancy through that is the kind of things that we talk about every day. So it's nice to see this as a subject for today.
I'm Kim Burghart, the Director of Strategic Partnerships for Marquee Brands. The marketing partnerships team and I manage all marketing related partnerships for Marquee across the entire portfolio, which includes brands from luxury goods to outdoor and active apparel and home and food.
Awesome. Thank you. So we are going to kick it off with the idea of, wow, the moment has come. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. No matter what business industry you're in, you have the transaction moment. You're seizing the opportunity with the transaction, and you need to maximize that opportunity. So this will be a great conversation to talk about how do you do that? How do you do more of that? And how does a solution like Rock play into that? We will be talking about topics, but we also are putting in questions for the attendees. So the first question we have for the audience members is, what specific initiatives have you found to be most effective in meeting customer needs via personalization? And if you're willing to share, what has been your outcomes? While you're thinking on that, people are typing in, we are going to talk about, let's talk about the challenges, because why not, off the bat. So what challenges do you see brands are facing building customer lifetime value and improving that overall customer experience?
I can start.
Awesome.
over my 7 years of what I've heard, a litany of challenges, of course, and every business is a little bit different, but a lot of what I hear is how do you manage the different trade-offs of things that you're trying to do with your customers on site, right? There's obviously driving that core purchase, there's driving additional ancillary revenue, and then there's driving LTV initiatives, the app, the loyalty program. How do you serve all these messages to a customer and get it right? I think a lot of times we see companies trying to just throw everything at their audience, and I think the challenge is how do you manage that appropriately with different stakeholders in your business? Kim, I'd love to hear, what were some of the challenges that you faced when you came to Rocked, and we started our conversations early on. What were you facing?
So our approach to the customer is a little bit different than some of the other use cases that I know that Rocked has, and also what some of the other businesses in the world are doing with marketing. We leverage on top of our existing marketing to really expand use of our database to do more, to provide more, not just for the customer, but also for our company. Mm-hmm. So, what can we do to create a greater experience internally as well as the external use? So something like a Rocked or a similar technology that can create an experience that benefits both sides of the line is just a really great thing for us to have inside of our portfolio of tools. Yeah. The challenge, however, is making sure that it does align with the brand ethos, that the package makes sense, that it fits our consumer's journey, that it's not like a weird outlier, that it's seamless, that the integration is seamless, that it makes sense, and that it fits in and it's likable by our audience.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we, as we progress in our journey with our partners, that we experience sometimes too, and something where it's not tension, but it's kind of good tension in a way that we'll talk to partners like, Kim's been an amazing partner for us, and they'll have an instinct about, I've seen your advertiser list, Rocked. I'm not so sure that these 4 are a good fit for us. And we say, okay, can we try it on 10% of the data or 10% of your post-transaction journeys? And then they are very often surprised by the types of offers or the types of brands that their consumers will interact with, right? So I think on our, and that's kind of the magic of having 1 billion transactions and growing that we can feed off of and try and learn from, is help identify partnerships or help identify things about the consumer, your consumers, that maybe you're not going to otherwise have exposure to. And plus, to build a nice walled garden like we have of a couple of hundred advertisers would take a team, right? And it would still not be as efficient because you're not going to be across network-wide learnings and things like that. And so what happens in the real world is then 2 bad things happen. One is that we were just talking to Golf Now, right, which has 32 million people booking tea time reservations every year, and they're showing the same ad to everyone, right? So that's not great because that doesn't appeal. And maybe it's a really good, I won't say the advertiser, but it's a really good fit for what you would think someone making a golf tea time is. But to say that's going to appeal to 32 million people, especially if they're repeating, is just not logical. And the other side of that is we all have our Chase or Bank of America apps or something like that, and there's 1,000 offers on there. That's not relevant to me either, right? So it's not so much about the what, but how you can kind of put that in front of someone. And to do it efficiently, let sort of the market and the algorithm and the intelligence decide what's the right offer for that consumer. And so that's why, we've built a nice partnership with Marquee and with Kim, because we're putting things that the data is telling us is relevant. We're not saying it's relevant, right? Which is much more important.
Yeah, I think that's all exactly it. And I think also what Kim mentioned is, making sure that comes across to the customer in a likable way and it fits the journey is also an important part of it. So how do you do all of that when you have one transaction moment to capitalize on, right? That's a pretty tough decision for any business.
I mean, actually, how do you do that? Honestly, we've been able to do it kind of somewhat easily with working with the team here. We have been able to, like Mike had mentioned, we have been able to learn a lot about our audience as well through, the interaction with the offers. Mike, you had mentioned the different categories of finance. I'm looking at a report right now. Some of the categories and verticals that we've learned about that our audience has interacted with, it's been phenomenal how we've been able to leverage the knowledge that we were very tepid about. We're like, okay, well, let's test it. And the test turned into, extremely great learnings that we've been able to roll out and apply across, our entire suite of marketing. So it's been really great.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think people typically come in with a lot of assumptions around what their customers want and who their customer is, especially within retail. Obviously, there's very strong brand affinity to keep in mind, but relevancy is interesting when you think about not just, I purchased this, so I might need that. It becomes more interesting when you think about the individual customer and what is their cohort and what stage of life are they in and where do they live and what other products might make sense for that individual user.
I'm so sorry. I got really excited, especially in the moment in which they are interacting in that particular transaction. We've done studies of, in-store transaction, what it's like for them to purchase, additional products. What, if they're buying leggings, are they also going to buy a bra? If they're buying, a party dress, are they going to buy shoes as well? Or, how are all of the other partner type of assets going to be in the mix when a particular type of product is purchased? It's different when you're on e-commerce and you are in this other transaction moment. What are the other types of products that are being purchased online versus in a store? What are the other types of products that are being purchased at any particular moment based off of a need? What is, the catalyst for even going online to make the purchase? These are all the different types of things that you can slice and dice your data and take a look at. And you can pretty much find information by coupling your Google Analytics with the reporting that comes out of, whatever tool you're using for your personalization.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that's interesting, there's a lot of differences between the in-store interaction and the e-com experience. But one thing I think that we have found interesting and why customers engage so much in that moment is because you still have that like elated feeling of I just purchased something, right? Every time you walk out of a store, at least I know I am like super excited and I've got that high that yes, I just made my purchase, like what's next, right? So I think what Rokt helps do is introduce, brands at that moment, and people are very receptive at that point in time. It's very interesting. And if you can create a relevant experience and something is, customized to that user, then they're very open in that moment. And that mindset is very different than other channels where you might just be browsing on social media and, not half paying attention to the show that you're watching, right? When you're purchasing, you're very engaged in that moment because you're excited by it. You're ready to get your item and get it as quickly as possible.
Definitely. I think too, when you're having that moment where you purchase something from a brand you love, there's that relationship trust also with that brand, and to know like, wow, that brand knows me so well, they're recommending this is a great thing. This is a really curated experience, and it's a special moment in the consumer's eyes because you're really taking that extra step. I mean, in the olden days when I was doing e-commerce, which was only 24 months ago, the personalization, like aha, was, oh my gosh, we can send emails on people's birthdays and we can put the name into the email. And this is like big leagues, like pop the champagne, let's go. And now look at like how far we've come in 24 months. I mean, unbelievable how fast this is moving and the tools that are available for brands to, keep leveling up when it comes to personalization.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really interesting point around the evolution of it, right? And I think everybody's instincts are wrong, right? Because you sort of think about, oh, I'm going to do exactly what people do in brick and mortar, right? And you can see this everywhere, right? Retail media comes up, and retail media is really just a manifestation of what people. If you go to the grocery market, somebody's paying to be on the end of the aisle. So when you walk by, you get extra action, you get extra traffic, you get extra purchase, and someone's paying for the right to be at the end of that aisle, right? Just like someone is now paying to be a sponsored listing, or someone is paying to be bubbled up on, on the top of a category page on a website or something like that, right? And I don't want to be dismissive of those things, but those are sort of obvious choices, right? If someone has put in a search for socks, then a sponsored listing for a pair of socks is the right idea, right? But after they've purchased is a very different subset of experience to Ashley's great points around sort of a little bit of the euphoria, or what we call the happiest moment in retail, and also that they're focused. But also you have to face reality. If they just bought something, they're probably not immediately going to want to buy something else, right? So what are the right things to put in front of those consumers, right? And it could be what we call a first party offer, right? It could be something where maybe you're doing refer a friend, or it's an app download, or it's an adoption for a newsletter. But depending on who the consumer is and are they repeat or are they new, there's also ample opportunity and great time to introduce them to a new partner that, yes, of course, can help you on a monetization path and can help you drive some more revenue and value, but you're also learning about that consumer, learning what partnerships are interesting to them. And at the end of the day, you're putting something in front of them that's engaging, right? I tell everybody, you want to go make, 3 cents extra an order, you could put a Google ad up in 10 seconds and very few people will click on it, and you're going to dilute your brand, right? But putting relevant things in front of them that's born out of the data, which means people engage with it, you can't deny that you're providing value there. And when you have control over that experience, you can sleep well at night.
Very cool. Yeah, talking more about the personalization topic is, can you share a customer study, case study, experience you've seen where you have been able to, meet the customer needs via personalization?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of examples of that. And I think, the way that we tend to think about personalization isn't the typical way, like the using the first name or, it's personalization is relevancy to us. Like, how do we select the right journey for each customer that Mike mentioned, right? Is that getting someone to sign up for the app? I don't know if I can say this name, but so particularly for certain companies, we'll work with them on determining, if they show their app download campaign to everybody, right? I know that an example of this is just like an airline, right? You go on and you have that app. I've purchased on the app a bunch of times. Actually getting that right of like understanding that I actually have purchased on an app, and like then determining, you know what, I'm not going to show that. I'm actually going to show an offer for HelloFresh because maybe I want, I'm traveling this week and I don't want to go do a whole grocery haul and I want to order my dinners, right? That's where you get it right for a brand. That's where you help improve that, not only the relevancy for the customer, but then the ultimate, take rate of the app download or adding additional revenue that you could have missed out on, right? So having that third party revenue, that's bottom line profit that you're generating for your business that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So right there, it's generating, value to that company. So those are just like some of the things that we look to kind of solve for and really like make those trade-offs in real time by determining who that customer is and what would be the best path for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is a personalization 2.0, potentially 3.0 at this point. So if you are a retailer who is looking to embark on this 2.0 personalization journey, what are the first steps? First, I'm assuming the objectives could be different based on what you want, and what are some examples of those?
Yeah, absolutely. And Mike, feel free to jump in too. I think, that's where we start, right? Because our technology can be deployed in so many different ways. So we really want to understand what are the goals for your business. And that could be, we just want to drive revenue, right? We want to drive an additional 30 cents per transaction that we see on our site. Great, we can do that. You can tap into this stream of advertisers. Or it could be, I want to improve the customer experience. I'm serving, several ads on the confirmation page and it's not really generating a lot. How do we create a better user flow and experience? Or it could be supporting partnerships. We work with companies that want to upsell their American Express credit card. How can we use our technology to power that and make that more customized for a user? So I think it's definitely understanding those goals. And then we go down this path of, okay, here's our suggested approach. And then you kind of work back and forth there. Kim, I know, for example, you work with a portfolio of brands, right? So we had to do this on a brand by brand basis with Kim and her team of understanding, okay, what's each brand's goal? What's important to them? For motherhood.com, there was specific advertisers that they didn't want to show, right? We're not going to show naked wines on that purchase. So that's fine. We want to give you those controls. So I think we first understand the goals from a higher level and then break that down into how do we then create a customized experience, give Kim and her brands the control that they need to really drive the best outcome.
Yeah, to Ashley's point, that was one of the most important things to us when we were evaluating Rocked as a partner. Can we control the offers that are shown, and what level of control do we have? Wine. We don't want to show a wine offer to our audience, which is pregnant. Didn't really feel it was appropriate. So knowing that we could be so granular and choose, the advertiser was really great. And across the portfolio, we do have some competitors that we don't want to show. And we can be very granular with that, and it's really fantastic. We also can personalize, and as Mike had mentioned, have some things inserted in here for ourselves. If we promote a loyalty program, we can collect additional information that can help us with the segmentation of our file, which lends to greater personalization across our entire marketing initiatives. So it's really powerful for us to be able to leverage this and have the control.
Yeah, ultimately it's about two things, right? It's about relevancy and outcomes, right? And so you can drive that relevancy. You can point kind of our relevancy engine or our capabilities at whatever outcome you're thinking about, right? So, and in my mind, it becomes a math problem, right? It becomes a math problem of if you're Kim and you've got Marquee and you've got a portfolio of brands, are there slices of the sur la table audience that you'd want to point towards motherhood and vice versa? Great, that's the outcome you're driving. That's where we can point our relevancy engine. If the outcome is drive more profit out of every order, that's where we drive that engine and we set the guidelines around it, right? But regardless of the outcome, we're going to sort of point our relevancy engine at it and let it do its thing.
And can you also utilize it for gaining more reviews for your products, cross-selling your own products?
Yeah.
Yeah. Specific to the Shopify audience, which I know a lot of the audience that's here is on it. We have an upsell tool that's part of it. I mean, the whole entire Shopify or Woo or BigCommerce experience, just as note, is really via an app download. Our integration is, I say for our enterprise customers, it's very light. For this, it's extremely light, right? It's all via an app. And then you get access to our platform on the back end where you can make any change, whether that's percent of traffic, internal versus third-party offers, the advertiser block list that Kim was mentioning, all those kind of things are all via the back end once the app is installed. But yeah, it's driving that relevancy and figuring out ways to do those experiments, starting to run those first-party experiments for whether it's an app download or refer a friend. Our basic stance is, we don't want to tell you not to run a survey that's going to measure satisfaction of your consumers, because we recognize that's important for your NPS results and for you to stay in touch with your consumer. Do you need it on 100% of your post-transaction audience for a multi-repeat customer? Probably not, right? Can you still get that statistical significance out of X% of your population while driving other outcomes with Y% of your population? And that's really what we're all about, is not being a static tool, but being a dynamic tool.
And on that dynamic piece too, I think we built the tech to manage these changing priorities, right? And my team sees that a lot because a business may come in with a particular goal in mind. And then as we work with them over years, their business changes, their strategies change. But with that one integration that they've now done, we can unlock these other initiatives as they come up, right? We can unlock, you've signed an exclusive partnership with this brand and you want to serve that offer in a specific placement, we can help support that. So I think having that flexibility is key for a business to be able to trade those in, to test different things, as Mike said, and experiment on which audiences you want to serve different experiences to.
Awesome. And then going down that same road of you're starting this journey, who are the stakeholders that should be in the room at the beginning of this initiative to make sure it's successful? And what are the KPIs? What should you be tracking and how do you track to prove success?
Yeah, I mean, the first KPI, look, a lot of our partners work with us because they want to sort of drive some, they're gonna use our relevancy engine to help drive some financial outcome, right? So that one you can figure out in a day, right? Which is how much additional revenue, ancillary profit you're driving out of our relationship if you're choosing to go down that third-party ad route, right? It's pretty obvious. You can start to see those results. Our algorithm learns very fast and optimizes a client pretty quickly. So we'll typically give a range of outcomes, but you can start to see, I've never not seen it take more than a week to sort of really see, okay, this can be sort of a predictable financial outcome based on my order volume. So that's not going to lie, that's usually KPI number one, is are they getting the results that we said that they would from the financial piece of it. But the others that are super important to figure out and understand are what were you doing before, right? Before you installed Rock and before you were using Rock. Was that empty real estate? Probably not. You were probably doing something, right? So some of it can be that bucket I talked about before, where can you still get the survey results, or can you still get the responses? Can you still drive newsletter adoption or app download adoption or refer a friend kind of adoption at the scale you want? And sometimes that's tools and levers, right? You want to still expose those things to certain audiences while maybe potentially driving revenue out of other audiences. And you start to play with those levers and start to understand. Candidly, we usually see a pretty quick path towards the revenue side of things because it's very compelling. It just is, right? The numbers start to get 30 cents an order. Doesn't sound like a lot until you start processing 1,000 orders. And then you go, wait a minute, that's $3,000 a day. That's $1 million a year. That's not bad, right? So there's kind of that piece of it. But then the other one, which I encourage everyone to measure, and it is not at all abnormal for us to work with our partners on the marketing side or someone else to measure repeat rate, AOV, things like that. Really, repeat rate is the biggest one, right? Because it's one thing to see really nice double-digit engagement with whatever offers are getting put there, but that's still, even if you have 15% engagement, which would not be uncommon for us, you're still going to have 85% not necessarily positively engaging. They might look at the offer, but they might not engage with it. Is that leaving a bad taste in their mouth? We think no, but we encourage our partners to go look at that yourself. Make sure you're measuring repeat rate. Make sure there's no drop. We haven't seen any. Make sure there's no change in NPS and things like that, right? And so we know that's coming, and we welcome it because we've never seen negative results against those things, because we do. Our partners frame it very much as an unlock, or things that they're making available to their consumers. So no real rational reason, once you understand what we're doing, for that to not continue to delight somebody, but proof's in the pudding. So that's where I think we get more marketing and customer success, customer service, customer relations sort of folks on the partner side, just to make sure that they're testing what they want to test, because the financial results are obvious. We just want to make sure that they know that they're not trading something off for it.
Yeah, I think definitely that revenue piece, and whoever manages that is a key stakeholder. But we also love to just meet every team that's involved. We love to understand the challenges because, as we said in the beginning, there's a lot of different stakeholders involved with managing all the things that you want to accomplish on site. Kim, who from your team, because obviously there was different brands involved as well as product, who else did you bring into the conversation that you felt like was important?
One of the most important teams to bring in for us was the team that is responsible for the user experience on the website, to ensure that they felt that the experience that the customer was given felt seamless, it felt tied into the brand, that it wasn't odd, that it wasn't quirky, that everything felt right, that the look and the feel matched everything else that we were doing with the brand. And then from there, Ashley and Mike, you covered the whole, does it financially make sense? Does it, is it going to lend itself to helping the company reach our goals? And then of course, if the lift, does the lift make sense? Do we have resources, to do the back end, which was, again, it's an app, it's minimal. So,
Yep. Yeah, I think we encourage you to bring in whoever you feel like is needed to make those decisions and get everyone really comfortable with the tech and how it works. So we're, very open to working with all of those departments to make sure it's the right fit. And then I think once they see those results, that's when the proof comes in and they get really excited, and then they want to start working on additional things, and that evolves. That's usually how we see those relationships play out.
That's where we are now. Everyone wants to know what's next. What else does Rock have?
4.0 coming soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. So what platforms do you work with, and what does the implementation time look like?
Yeah, I mean, we're agnostic, right? We work across a ton. We have hundreds of partners. The plug and play, same day off you go is Shopify, Woo, WordPress, sort of that ecosystem, and BigCommerce. Those are all my most exciting moments at Rock. Even though I've closed much bigger deals, my most exciting moments at Rock are when I've been on a call and they've actually downloaded the app and started generating revenue while we're on the phone, right? So with those apps, you can genuinely download the app and get rolling, and everything is there in terms of customization of look and feel and all that sort of thing. But typically it's kind of even for our enterprise clients, it's not about the tech. It's not about hands on keyboard, not about fingers on keystrokes, right? That's very light. It's a web SDK, JavaScript snippet. It can live within a tag manager. It can live as code there, but that's genuinely, less than an hour of work kind of thing. But the integration takes longer because we work with big enterprise clients. They need to make it part of their release cycle. They need to do QA on it. They want to set up a test schedule. Most of those things can be set up on the Rock platform side, but they just want to confirm the integration. And the integration discussion is usually where we spend some time, which is what elements of of their platform do they want to integrate with us, which ultimately drives the relevancy engine, right? So it's about making sure that they know that the results can vary widely, I should say, depending on the elements of the integration that we work with together, right? 10 elements drive better results than 2 elements, right? And so it's helping them understand what those elements are. So it's more around discussion and alleviating any privacy or security kind of questions they have, and much less about hands-on keyboard integration, which is super light.
So question about data and privacy. It's a hot topic. Can you elaborate on that? Who owns the data? What type of data?
Yeah, partner owns the data. We do not sell or share anything with our advertisers. Those are just points of fact, right? So any sort of CCPA, GDPR reviews or anything like that, we're ISO 27001 certified. All of those things, very happy to obviously elaborate with anyone on a one-off basis. But, I think the bottom line is we don't sell or share any advertisers. The partner owns their data. We are a technology layer that is helping them optimize that data to surface relevant offers. But ultimately, we're no different than any other technology or software tool that you might use on your site, whether that's personalization or an email send program or anything else like that, to really optimize your data to make relevant offers to your consumers.
Yeah. Well said, Mike. I think just to think of us as like the extension of your business, right? We're here to operate for you. And I think it's important that's why we spend a lot of time, the most time in those conversation stages around what do you want to accomplish? What's important to you in the integration? Because there's a lot of different levers you can pull. And we're there to help you understand what that means as far as outcomes for your business. But ultimately, it's your site, and we're looking to drive that experience for your customers.
Awesome. Kim, do you have any advice to the group?
Personal or professional, Kim?
From your awesome experience. And
right. Should we make our beds when we get up in the morning, Kim?
I'm gonna try to limit to 4 cups of coffee a day. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's good. Good advice.
Honestly, my technology is not hard. People tend to overcomplicate pieces of technology. Take a breath, think about it, and evaluate what it can do for your business. Technology should simplify things for you. It should make your life easier. If it's positioned or something that you have is making your life complicated, it might not be the right tool. If it sounds hard, take a step back, and it probably isn't. Things should be very simple. Technology should be very simple. There's a lot of buzzwords. Again, please just take a breath. It really shouldn't be hard. That's it.
Did you have to have a lot of different departments involved from the get-go when you launched this initiative?
For Rocked, no, it was honestly, I mean, I'm really not here to be like a Rocked fangirl. I'm not, but I've worked in digital marketing for 20 plus years. And this is probably the easiest technology integration I've ever done. I've worked in-house, I've worked in agencies, we've developed custom CMS systems ourselves. We've built ERPs in companies that I've worked with. We've basically done data transfers that it's like a heart transplant. And then we've also just done things like, dropping an analytics tag into a website that has just been mind-blowingly complicated. This is not at all hard. It was so amazing. The team over at Rocked had done, all of the design for the pop-ups or, the embedded. However you decide to go, there are options. And we showed it to our different brands, and they're like, "Oh my God, that looks great. How did they get our colors right?" It's like, again, it's not hard. And it worked. And we had like a little Rocked party. We got all the groups together. It was a half-hour meeting. The codes were dropped into the site. It worked, or the app was installed and it worked. The key is that it worked. Everybody plugged in what they had to do, and here we are a year later. It's actually it's our year anniversary.
Oh my God.
Today? Wow.
Yeah,
We should be popping champagne.
I know, we should
we are. It's a party. It's really great to find a partner and a tool like this that can be seamless, can month over month show results, and be easy to work with, have teams that are just knowledgeable and provide consultative recommendations on how to grow and use the tool better, keep you aware of what is new in their space, what's coming up. We are going to be rolling out some new features as Rocked is developing them. So, it's a growing partnership, and, we're really happy that we found each other, and just looking forward to, what's next. If I could replicate this with additional partners, that's a goal that we have. Like, hear it from leadership. Go find another Rocked. They have to be out there. Grow the tech stack. Let's get more companies like that, more that are, great to work with, that can really help drive the bottom line.
Awesome. I swear we didn't feed Kim.
No, and I'm here by my own free will.
That was amazing, Kim. Thank you. I wish it was 12:57. I said, let's go, everybody. That's it.
Yeah, let's get in there.
No, but I would say, first of all, Ashley's team is very solid in terms of working with the customers. We're not just a launch and see you later. They work really hard. But I think, candidly, the way the partnership works is the interests are aligned, right? We're here to optimize your engagement and to optimize the revenue that gets driven out of the system. So 100%, brings a tear to my eye, everything you just said, but a lot of it, like the interests are genuinely aligned, right? We're going to do better. It's not like we're charging you a SaaS fee and hope that you can justify it on the back end, right? Our interests are aligned in helping you to drive revenue and drive good results and stay with us,
Yeah, I think like just to hit on one key point, I think that I often hear when we're working with direct teams is, it should be easy. And a lot of times it is something that companies want to build themselves or own themselves, right, to improve that customer experience. And like, we want to support you on that path, but it's probably going to take a lot longer for that to happen internally, right, to build up that technology and that learning. So why not flip that on quickly? And we'll be your partner in that and learning what you should build and what your customers do actually like or enjoy or engaging with. And you can then go replicate that, right? But we're here to help make it easy. And I think that's where a lot of our partners get surprised with how easy that is to accomplish something that you've been trying to build internally for a few years now, but haven't gotten over the line. So I think we hear that quite often from our customers.
Very cool. And just to confirm, as we're wrapping up here, any final questions, comments anybody has, definitely put it in the chat. I do have one that came through via email, is where does the offer actually live?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the, yeah, never mind. It's just there. It's on the, great question. And sorry, we should have somewhere covered that, but it's on the checkout confirmation, kind of what I would call the thank you page, right? So it lives, we're not at all getting in the way of conversion. It lives, typically it would say, you know, thank you, Ashley, for your order. And then it exists as either an overlay or pop-up, as you might call it, or embedded on that page. Both options are available as part of the Shopify or any experience, candidly. But yeah, it lives on that thank you page.
Beautiful. So that is a important note, is it's post transactions done, the thank you has happened, and now look at this. So there's no opportunity for distraction midstream during the transaction process. So that's
Yep, and a picture says 1,000 words, and happy to follow up with anyone with either a demo of their experience or a demo of one of our other partners' experience, both of which are very easy for us to do. So happy to do that, but you're not also losing visibility to what's behind it, right? So typically we are bringing in elements of the integration, right? So we'll get an order number or a first name or something like that that lets them know, like, okay, this isn't some weird thing that's come in from outside. This is from the partner. It's a thank you. It's a reward that's being availed to them. And a significant majority of our ads, so to speak, are offers, right? It's typically not, you just bought a pair of pants, hey, come buy a belt right now. It's, you just bought some Disney pajamas, how about a free month of Disney Plus, right? It's very much often offers based. First X days free, $50 off your first order from HelloFresh, things like that. So it's very much offers based. So that kind of fits in with sort of coming from the partner that you're working with. And our campaigns are then going to, again, it's going to show up as an overlay or an embed. So you're going to still see anything relevant you would need, like shipping times or tracking number, but often we're bringing in the order number on the header for that overlay. They can easily X out. They have to opt into anything with a very affirmative yes, please, or okay. And that would bring them to a new tab, new window within that, sorry, not a new window, a new tab within that experience. So they're not going to in any way, shape, or form lose visibility to the site they're on.
To go back to talking about the stakeholders and the buy-in, I had mentioned our UX teams. We knew that when we were bringing to the table a partner who would be, you know, in the cart or in checkout, that we really had to come in and we had to show the demo to show them that we were not interfering with the transaction. You know, we weren't going to get in the way of, you know, the customer completing a sale, that this experience, you know, inside of checkout was after the transaction moment, that it would complement the purchase, that it would complement the experience, that it would, you know, be able to be personalized, like Mike had said, that we would be able to tie in with, you know, the customer journey that had already taken place. So it was a very powerful thing to be able to have that visual and to tell the story just by looking at it, rather than just saying, oh yeah, it's just going to be something that'll happen after, you know, the sale is. So it was very helpful.
Yeah, definitely important to note. Awesome. Well, any closing comments, advice that you have to the audience as they embark on personalization 4.0?
Just for us, for Marquee, you know, we do have very unique audiences. Sur La Table and Martha Stewart, our motherhood audiences, again, we have them for a very short period of time while they're pregnant, and they're looking for very specific things, and we want to provide that very specific shopping experience to them, which is why we're always looking for different ways to provide the relevancy. We've said it a few times, it's not just about, dynamically inserting their first name or, things like that. It's about really customizing that journey, making them aware without like the creepy remarketing, like, oh, you just looked at these shoes, and that's not fun. But, what is on her mind? It's about knowing her through these different marketplace types of ways.
Mine would be use data and use the data that you have on your site around your customers to really listen to them and what they want, and using that to drive decisions. I think companies get into trouble when they start to make assumptions about the best experience or what's relevant. So definitely use what you have available around your customers to make it more personalized for them, and customers are actually looking for that, right? They're looking for a personalized experience. They know that their data is out there, but if you use it in an intelligent way to create a more custom experience for that person, you can really improve that lifetime value of that customer.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I would just say push yourself on relevance, right? Ask yourself why you think what you're doing is going to drive relevance. I think table stakes is you have to be relevant to your consumer. And so I think I would push yourself into asking. I know it's the title of today, but I really do genuinely believe it. Ask yourself if what you're thinking about doing for your consumers, how do I know it's relevant to them?
Fantastic. Ashley, Kim, Mike, thank you so much for the information today. It was awesome, compelling, and a huge thank to Rock for being an awesome partner and supporter in the network. We definitely encourage anybody on the call to have a follow-up conversation with the Rock team. It will definitely be worth your time, and we will make the introductions post-call today. And we'd like to have a conversation with you as well. That's how we get the topics for future conversations. So feel free to drop me a line at tiffany@bwgconnect.com, and we can put some time on the calendar. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Happy anniversary, Kim, Ashley, and Mike.
Thank you. Yeah. See you guys at the after party. Yeah.
Yes, after party.
Thank you, Kim. Good seeing you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks, guys.
See you in the
Thank
next
you,
event.
Tiffany. Very
Bye-bye.
nice. Thanks. Bye.